Welcome, Hanukkah.
Baruch Hanukkah. Sorry, I changed the shir just on the fly. I'm going to give the other one on Shabbos. I think this one will be a big yesod to understand the one on Shabbos. Interesting, Parshas Miketz is always in Hanukkah. You never find Hanukkah without Miketz. Yosef comes out, the light of Hanukkah comes out. He comes from the bur, he comes from the obscurity. The obscurity stopped on Hanukkah and everything. I felt a little bit obliged to. I'm just going to touch Hanukkah on the side, but it's just mind blowing. And I'm just going to scratch the surface. Everything we touch and we do on Hanukkah is really mind boggling. I'll give you a couple of things to do as Hashem. So you should be Moshech the Oyer also to your house, because it's not just a say. This is brought in all the Sfarim Akdoshim. The Yaakov speaks about it. All his Talmidim speak about it. Hanukkah is a special time where we can bring the oil. Who is the one who doesn't have choshech in his life, doesn't have darkness, and he needs to have light over there? Let's start going into the psukim. All right, today's is a lot of psukim, but it's just for reference. We're just going to touch. The truth is, and maybe I'm gonna have time to talk in Shabbos. Maybe I'm not gonna have time. It's gonna be for another time. But we're gonna have three languages, three times repeated the chaloim of the Sarah Mashkim, or I should say, the explanation of Yosef, the Sarah Mashkim. First time, Sarah Mashkim to Yosef. Second time, right at the end of last week, Parasha in Vayeshev, repeating in a different way, with a different language, which is totally not what Yosef said. But the third time, when the Sarah Mashkim goes to Paro in order to tell him about Yosef that he knows, he changes back to what Yosef said. Very interesting game in this repetition of this dream. And this struck me. What's going on here? Why do we have to change from one side what Yosef says to something that happens, but the Pasuks recounts it with a different language than what Yosef said, totally different language. And then when finally this behemoth of the Sarah Mashkim start, repent and make amend, it's going to go back to what Yosef said. There, I found a story there. It's incredible, incredible. So this whole Inyan. So we know what the Sarah Mashkim dreamt. I just show you the psukim here for the third, because it's the same as when Yosef said it. Look in here. Vaidaber Sarah Mashkim. Vaidaber is a lashon, is a harsh. Means when you talk harsh, the Torah used the lashon Vaidaber. When someone talks softly, it says Vayomer. Here he's going to talk. This guy is making amend, and he's talking harshly to his king, the king that rules on all over the world. Vaidaber. Now, how do you say speaking to? He doesn't say that, the apostle. Vaidaber Sarah Mashkim, the Sarah Mashkim spoke, es Paro, not el Paro. What's going on? These are words you cannot translate. There's not translatable. Es chatai, my mistakes, ani maskir hayom, I'm going to mention them today. Unbelievable, just the Lashon of the puzzle. Look, if we take the second puzzle, Paro katzaf alavadav, Paro got angry on his servants. Vaiten oisi b'mishmar. He put me in the, he doesn't call it Beis HaSohar. That's not the, no, it's a chamber where you are secluded. Let's say you cannot go to the palace, but it's not the jail. Beis Sarhat Tabachim, in the house of Sarat Tabachim, which is Potiphar. Now look at this. Oisi ve'esar ha'oifim. But you just said oisi. So you should have said from the beginning, Vaiten oisi ve'esar ha'oifim be'mishmar be'sarat tabachim. What he means here, Vaiten oisi be'mishmar, and now you go back to the pronoun and include me, the Sarah Oifim. So why didn't you mention him in the first place, the Sarah Oifim? We see now. Look at what's going on. Vanachal machaloim, and we both. The nun here is plural. We dreamt belayla echad, the same night. Which night was it? Rosh Hashanah. No, 3 days before Rosh Hashanah. Ani vahu. You said we. Now you got to say ani vahu. What is he doing? The Ishana is here. Ani vahu Oshana. Interesting lashon. Now, okay. Ish kepisroin chaloimoy chalamnu. Pisroin means the revelation, the explanation. 1 second. You dreamt in the morning, you got up very angry. You didn't know what you dreamt. But here you're saying something else to Paroi. Ish kefisroi, kefisroin, like the explanation, chaloimo of his chaloim, we dreamt. Chazal explained that the Sarah Mashkim dreamt his dream, and he dreamt the meaning of the dream of the Sarah Oifim. The Sarah Oifim dreamt his dream and dreamt also the explanation of the dream of the Sarah Oifim. So what did this guy need, Yosef? Talk to each other. Both of you, yeah, I had a dream. What's your dream? This and this and this. Oh, I know what he means because I dreamt the answer last night. Listen, there's nothing simple. It's a simple story in the Torah. We make it like if it's a big case. Since the end of Vayeshev, all the way through here, beginning of Miketz, all we talk about this and languages after languages that just come here to teach us something about Yosef. Because obviously all this, who did it? All this was orchestrated. There's nothing, you cannot put a machine to work like this unless then there is someone running it. We know that the Sar of Chaloim, who is the Malach of Chaloim, is Gabriel. Gabriel is Vayimtsaehu Ish, when he mistaken on the way from that his father sent him from Emek Chevron. Rashi says there, Gabriel, the Midrash says Gabriel, the Zohar says Gabriel. From that point on, Gabriel never left him. I mean, that only adds questions to the matter, how did it happen if Gabriel was there, the whole Mechira and whatsoever. But you see here, you're going to see in a lot of the words, Vay and Hu. You're going to have the letters Yud Vav at the beginning, and the Hey Vav. Hey Vav are going to be one after another. You know that his mother and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're orchestrating that. We'll see. And we'll see why Yosef deserved to stay 2 more years in prison. He was supposed to have, the Chaloim of Paro was supposed to be 2 years earlier, right after these idiots came out, the Sarah Mashkim and the Sarah Ha'oifim. But something happened, and Yosef apparently made a mistake. We can say this on Yosef HaTzadik. Made a mistake and Yosef in the same sentence. Doesn't work. Does not work. So what happened that he deserved 2 more years? And the Parasha starts with this, Vayhi Miketz. And it was at the end of this punishment. Yeah, okay, at the end. So what do you say, Vayhi? Vayhi, the Gemara says in Megillah that it's a lotion of tragedy. In contrary, he's going to become on the same day. He's going to go from Bira Amikta, a deep, pit, all the way to the highest level, Mishneh Lamelech. And he doesn't take the place of Paroi out of decency. Because the law in Mitzrayim was that the one who knows, so there were 70 steps to the throne of Paro. So in his chamber, whatever you want to call it, his thrones had 70 steps with all kind of animals that were working with kishuf. They were made out of silver, gold, metals. And if someone had to walk up and on every step change language, and as long as he knew other languages, he was allowed to step, and then he had to sit. Then Paro would come down and sit on the step above him and then speak with him. So the first day when Yosef came, he only knew 3 languages. So he walked 1, 2, 3. He sat down. Paro knew. He came down all the way 67 steps and sat down to speak with Yosef about the Chalom. This year, I'm not going to go into the Chalom of Paro. It's already by itself, it's 5 shir in this. Though, the next day, so they heard him, he found the solution. How did they know it was the truth? This is what's amazing. We'll see on Shabbos, Hashem. Hopefully I'll get there. I always say that, but anyway. I always hope. And Paroi is amazed because they all knew. He knew Paroi. We're talking about Kedusha and Tuma. He knew that, or whatever they were saying, people, seven land you will conquer and you will lose them, 7 daughters you will have, and they will be taken away from you, they will die. This was all shtusim. He knew that this meant a power struggle between the Kedusha and the Tuma, and the Kedusha will win. And he panicked. Paro was an extreme chacham who knew. That's why Paro is the letters Ha-Oiref, the back of the head. And he knew exactly that he meant something over there. And that's why when Yosef explained him this, he knew it was true. But they had a law in Mitzrayim. You cannot have a king or a vice king that only knows 3. That was the problem of all of all the ministers. Despite that, they agreed. But the next day when he came, so the Midrash says that during the night, Gabriel told him, woke him up and said, I'm going to teach you the languages. So when he saw that Yosef was not grasping languages, he says, you know what, I'm tired. He says, I'm just adding you a letter, Yosef. And then all of a sudden, Yosef knew 70 languages, but he knew Hebrew, which Pharaoh didn't know. So that was the 71st. So he could have taken it. We see the godless where Yosef came from a place where he was in the hole for 12 years, and he became the most successful and loved person in Mitzrayim. Don't want to go too much in the history. I can get carried away with the Midrashim here. There's so many stories, very interesting. But let's start. Why? Okay, it's a happy story for Yosef. It's Hanukkah. We beat the Yevanim. Why do you start with Vayhi? Mi Ketz, from the end. What kind of language is that? It should have been Vehoya. Okay, we're going to go into a little dance here because we need to go right away. There's no time to stay afloat on top. We need to go down. There are two ways HaKadosh Baruch Hu set to run the world, the right and the left. Each one has a limit. This is how much chesed you can get in this world, but this is how much choshech you can get in this world. In this world, you cannot get infinite. Person will be punished, but there is a beginning and there's an end. On the left side, the one, if the person doesn't change and refuses to understand that he's being, basically the oynesh is only a warning that you're on the wrong tracks and you need to change. And if he keeps on digging his hole there, this is where the Malach HaMaves is. Okay, nice Torah. What does he have to do with Yosef? And not only this, says the Zohar, that you have to understand that every time, every moment he has the Satan, he's looking at people where he can get a kitrut. Especially when you did something great and you expect and you feel good. Avram did the Akedah. Yitzchak was on the Mizbeach giving his life because HaKadosh Baruch Hu requested it. What was the outcome of this? You would think that right after you would see the light. No. Big darkness. Sarah dies because of it. They were not even around her when she passed away. Sarah Imeinu. Yaakov Avinu went to Haran to free the son of Lavan. He comes back to Eretz Yisrael. What is he met with? The sorrow of Esau. Then Esau. Then Dinah. Then Rachel. Come on. Where is the Dini? The kitrug of the left. Every time you do something good, the Satan goes up and says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you know what? I I can make him regret the goodness of his deeds if you keep on staying, on his case a little bit longer. And Hashem says to the Satan, no, he won't change. But the Satan says, trust me, he will change. I will stay on him. Every time you do something very good, expect a slap. Be contained, keep your head between your shoulders, because this is when however, there is a limit to it. Can do what he wants. Me, Kate, some lachoshech says Iyov. We'll see the pasuk soon. He put an end to darkness. Darkness can go from one side to a certain side, from one point to a certain point, but it cannot invade everything. Doesn't have freedom to do what they want. Everything works by din and mishpat by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything is. So Yosef was in the boyer. If you look in the Ramak, in Sefer HaPardes, the boyer is, I call her the Shifcha. That's her name. That's the Shifcha. You have the Be'er, the well, which has water, which people enjoy because it gives life. This is the Shechina. And you have the boyer, which has no water. What does he have inside? Nechashim and akravim, snakes and scorpions, because that's her armies. And that's where Yosef was thrown, and that's where he is right now. You got to tell me, no, it's not the same as when the brothers used to come and everything. I would argue and tell you, maybe you should learn the Midrash. Why did the Eshes Potiphar throw him in the boyer? Because she felt that he was too comfortable in her house, and therefore her pressure would not work. But if now he will be in such discomfort, and I would come every day, and he would see the difference between his situation and what he can get going out, obviously I'll get him. And she came there for year after year. Do you know which dilemma, which pain Yosef went through? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm doing this day in, day out for you. Where is my salvation? And he doesn't see it. It's like dark. No one answers, no light. But Yosef remained steadfast on it and does not give it. Huge. He's inside the choshech, the full choshech. We'll see a little bit more about the choshech. We're going to learn because it's a very important point to understand how far he can go. I'm going to go take you in the pasuk. It's going to be a lot easier to learn it from a pasuk in Iyov than to learn it by heart. Kates some lachoshech. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put a limit to the choshech. Ulchol tachlis tachab the zoya, that it's only meaningful, not meaningful, but it's only tachlis. The Satan who choiker, he's looking in and out. He's searching. Even oifel vetzalmaves, he is a dark stone and the shadow of death. Learns the Zohar from this. There's another pasuk, Eretz Eifasa. There's Eretz Yisrael on top, which is the Shechina, and all the way under the seventh floor, there is a land called Eretz Eifasa. You're going to ask me what's Eifasa? How do you translate this? It's not a translatable word. Kmoi Oifel Tzalmaves. There's only darkness and shadow of death. Eretz Eifasa just tells you who's there and who she takes. This equals 565 equals That's what it is. Anyone who's she taking all the way down there? Someone who's choite with the mila, which is either the mouth, like lashon hara and so forth, shaming someone in public, shaming his friend, calling a kinuyim, all the dvarim asurim, inas dvarim, and so forth, or the mila. And up she drags him down. That's the Eretz Ephasa. It's the land of the Malach HaMaves. That's why we say, Gam ki elech begeitz al maves. The valley, the shadow of death, it's in Eretz Ephasa. So now we have in front of us a picture that when the Shekhinah shines on someone, he is in the land called Eretz Yisrael, even if he's not in Eretz Yisrael, but up there the Shekhinah is with him, so he's in Eretz Yisrael. However, when Chas v'Sham, the person is choite, then he's going already. That's why the Reshaim b'chayim kruyim meisim. Okay. They're called meisim because they're already dead, basically. They're already in pre-Gehinna mode. At the end of the day, what we see outside is just the opposite. The tzaddikim are suffering, not the Reshaim. They don't seem to be in Eretz Ephasa. Despite that, the Zohar says that's the reason the Sarah Mashkim forgot. Why? Because he is. Maybe I should give you this as an introduction. You have 3 ministers of Paroi and only 3 mentioned in the Torah. Sarah Tabachim, Sarah Mashkim, Sarah Oifim. Sarah Tabachim, which is Potiphar, we call him Seris Paroi. What is Seris? Seris is castrated. Sarah Tabachim and Sarah Oifim are not called Serise Paro. They're going to be called Serise Paroi after the sin toward Paro, after they were thrown in the bear, in the Mishmar. But prior to this, we're never going to see that word. But afterward, we're going to see. So now we have three ding-dong guys, basically, 3 castrated guys, 3 part of. Midrash says that why was he castrated, the Sarah Tabachim? That's Eshes Potiphar, right? So basically, it was his wife without being his wife. Because, you understand? But these 2 guys, they were the closest to Paroi on top, on the side of the Tumah, and they were pulling. So why did he get castrated? The Midrash say, I'm going back, I want to finish that to clarify this so you are very clear on where we're going now. Sarah Tabachim, when he saw Yosef, he didn't buy him for a Eved. Sorry, I'm going to say that, but he bought him as a sex slave for him. And the Midrash says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Yosef, I was shomer on you. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu castrated the Seris Paroi. On the other 2, the Midrash comes with something baffling. Baffling. Yes, it happened, the episode of the little fly and the little worm in the cake of Paro, but that's not why he did it. They were put to the side. They wanted to rape the princess. Sugar. A king like Paroi in his palace, you go after his daughter. Are you out of your mind? You don't think that you're going to pay okay, they couldn't hold it. Pharaoh said, castrate them. They got castrated. But they were huge in sorcery. Pharaoh was in the Oiref, that Yaakov is going to say, all the bloodlines that go on in the throat, that's them. We'll get into it. Now you see, these people are as dark as possible. There's no other level of darkness. You're going to see how high they were really across from Yosef, one on the right, one on the left, but they were controlling him. And on this, the Zohar says, because they're in the choshech, he forgot, because the letters choshech is shachach, forget. Interesting. The Zohar turned to be now a lawyer for those guys. What do you mean you have to defend them? No. He hated Yosef. These guys understood Dusha, they understood Tuma. And they didn't want Yosef to come out of this because they knew what would happen to Yosef. They knew his power. And therefore, they did everything possible in order, especially in how the Pasuk describes after the Sarah Mashkim came out, and how he used to give the wine to Paro, you can see the differences. Yosef said, you're going to do it like the first time, kamishpat arishon, like you used to do. And Sarah Mashkim says, I'm not doing it that way. I know what he means. I know where he's trying to drag me. And that's not going to work. That's not going to work. So we're talking about people, big people, giborim, battling. And the battle is between the good side and the bad side. But we don't need any reason. The bad is bad, period. They decided to hold the choshech. Now, if they can remember in the choshech, it's their problem because they decided. Zohar, what do you have to give me a defense, a reason for them? No, he didn't want to remember him. It says in the Pasuk, let's go see the Pasuk. I'm going to show you two things at the same time. And after that, we're going to start a descent. You see, it says Veloi Zachar Samashkim. If after that it says Vayish Kachehu. Veloi Zachar doesn't mean he forgot him. He didn't remember him. It means he didn't want to remember him. Because if he forgot him, he should have said Vayish Kachehu also. I think this is the Midrash that's going to give us a little bit of clarity, even though we're going to have to explain his words. Ashrei HaGever. So the Midrash is going to touch the pasuk that David HaMelech says, Ashrei HaGever, praise the person Asher Sam Hashem Miftachoy, that his trust is in Hashem. Ze Yosef. Veloi pana el Rehavim, and he didn't turn towards the Rehavim. Rashi explains Rehavim is the Mitzrim, called Rahav, because the angel of the Mitzrim and Ishmaelim is called Rahav. I mean, sorceries, if you want to translate Parashat Pshat in the so he didn't use hijibijis, he didn't use anything. He went simple. Al yedei she'amar lesara mashkim. Now I'm going to add a word, but that's not what the Midrash says. He says, according to what he said to the Sarah Mashkim, Zechartani, remember me. Vehiskatani, and remember me. You see this Vav He Vaishkachehu, it's plenty of them. Nitoisaf loish teishanim, 2 years were added. Is this Midrash something we can explain? There's a blatant contradiction between the beginning and the end. If you're telling me that the one to be praised is Yosef because he had bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can't tell me in the same breath that he was soymech on the Sarah Mashkim, because it shows the opposite. Because the pasuk after is Arur Ha'adam Asher some that trust in people. Asher some not nedivim, it's Arur Ha'adam Asher whatever, I don't remember the pasuk. So here you praise Yosef for having bitachon b'Hashem, at the same time you slap him for not having it. What is the pshat? But we know from this Midrash that Yosef got punished 2 years for 2 words, because he told the Saramashkim to remember him and to remember him and to remind Paro about him. Maybe I wrote the pasuk here somewhere. Ki im zechartani itcha. Now, if you remember me, kasheri tavlach, when it's going to be good for you, v'asisa na imadi chased, and you will do, please, for me a favor, v'hiskartani al paroi, and remind me to paroi, v'hoitzeisani. That's the biggest problem I have in this whole pasuk is that word, v'hoitzeisani min habayis hazeh, and you'll take me out from this house. So he's been adding here 2 words, which is basically 3. But zechatani vehiskatani, that's where the Midrash has a problem, not with the rest. So interestingly, I can understand the that there is a tvia on Yosef Atzadik for these words, but in that same token, I cannot understand that then you're telling me that he is the perfect example of bitachon. How is it possible? There is, this Midrash is the key of this year. We're going to see here something huge, really huge. Now we're going to have to undo the episodes of what happened, every detail, and look in the details. The Midrash says, it's in one parak before that second Midrash that I just mentioned. Peches says that when the Sarah Mashkim recounted his dream to Yosef, he told him, you all know the dream, right? What was the dream? Because I didn't write it. Vehine gefen lefonai. There was a vine before me. And boom. Who's called Gefen? Yisrael. Okay, registered in Yosef's head. Uba Gefen Shloisha Sarigim. And in the vine, there were 3 branches. Midrash says Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. The Roim the one who took the Bnei Israel out of Mitzrayim. So Yosef hears now he went down to the birth for a chaloim. He's going to go back up with a chaloim. So now he hears a chaloim of Kedusha. He sees here his master Gabriel at work giving him a hint. Vehi kefir rachas. And it's all of a sudden, it started flowering. Also, nitza started budding. Hivshilu, not if you know say her. It says Hivshilu. Eshkeloiseha. If Shilu Eshkeloiseha, yeah, if Shilu Eshkeloiseha Nabim. And he says, I was dumbfounded here. And up they came grapes and they ripe right away. Yosef says all this is talking about Kedusha. Shloisha Sarigim. Chesed, Vura, Tiferes, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Even though I'm going with the Zohar now, even though the Midrash talked about Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, but with the Zohar we have a parallel, and we're going to see that even the Midrash will give us a hint of this. And he says, okay, I hear now that Bnei Israel already, they're going to deserve to get out of Mitzrayim. Why would they deserve to go out of Mitzrayim? Why? For what reason? Because of Yosef. They were supposed to be there 400 years. Yosef is going to beat the case, the limit, the end of Choshech. He's going to beat them, not just conquer a portion, weaken them. No, Yosef went to war all the way. Kates is 190. 190 minus 200, 210. Redu Shana. Why did they remain 210 years in Mitzrayim? Because of Yosef, because of what he suffered in the border. So we see that it really, truly, Am Yisrael needed him. You know, these 2 years that we added and everything, but that's not the teretz to the Midrash. We're going to give a true teretz to the Midrash. That's going to make the words scintillate before our eyes like the neres of Hanukkah. So Yosef understands that we are talking now about the Geula. So he's applying to himself. Is it my Geula? Also, so he thinks Geffen, so it's the Bnei Israel. It's always, why is Geffen the Bnei Israel? Because Geffen, saying that it's a Gemara, it's a Midrash, that Geffen, it's the only tree that you cannot graft with another tree. Doesn't accept any other graft. It's the Bnei Israel. We remain us. And that's how we go through ages. And now he sees his parents, his grandparents, his great-grandfather. They're coming here to help. He sees the Anavim like by Noach, the same day. So he knows it's imminent. His deliverance from the boyer. But at the end, he's adding these two words, Zechartani and Hiskartani. I would like to show you something. And we're going to start dancing. I think I brought it. Oh, I have it. If we take those three words, paro, negoim, this is a passage by Naga Hashem es paro negoim gedolim, is when he took Sarah from Avram. What do you see coming out from these letters? Geffen. Yosef knew from his great-grandmother, Sarah Imenu, that now he's having the siman of the Geula. It's Geffen. Look. And he makes another cheshbon in his head. Geffen equals 133. Now, I'm going to write them, and I'm going to tell you after that. If we're taking only the inside, okay, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to waste time. I have still a lot to go. Just going to show you on the first one, on the Shem Av, only the Milui, because Milui is the din, like yain that comes out of the Geffen, on the Goyim, on the Reshaim. If you take only the inside, so here you have 46, here you have 37, here you have 19, and here you have 26. You add them, equals 133. This is where the side of Geffen of Yisrael is. We are attached to the Ralab. We are attached to the Shemes that come out of the Chochmah. Ab, Sag, Ma, Ben. The four names in front of you. Yisrael is inside there. Through the Geffen. Okay, so Yosef makes a cheshbon, and he said there were three sarigim, just for those who paint to put this sarigim. In the Torah, there's no second yud. Oh, I should have darshaned it. I didn't answer that question. I didn't even see it. I just see it now. Sarigim is written like this, without the second yud. Equals 553. I'm not gonna tell you this. All right, let's go for it. It's 7 times. Can I get the 7 lower midos of Yud K? You'll understand soon. Yud K Vav K. K Ye. Aleph He Vav He. In other words, he feels his work is completed. We're going to go into it and explain it because this is something in Hanukkah. This is something in davening. This is something in Krishma. This is something that when you say Mechaye Meisim equals this. This is something, there is not one instant, and we have to put it, to take it down from the Yudke, from the Chochmah and the Bina, take it down and get these 3 names no matter what we do. It has to be with us. Otherwise, Chas v'Shalom is the 3 Elohim. We'll see. I'm going to go explain this. Why? Because we have to. If you want, for those who want something simple, it's K-Ye, Asher Keye with the letters. Plus you add the letters. So you see the shame of the Geula. Not only the shame of the Geula, it's the shame of the Geula Shleima at the end of time with the Mashiach ben David. So we're talking about here Mashiachim. And we're going to see that even though the Torah doesn't make a parallel, but you're going to know exactly what Yehuda is doing at this time that we saw last week. So what he was doing, how did Yehuda get to Samar? How did it happen? How did the Nitzites of the Mashiach went from the Gilgul, like we learned last week, to Peretz? I'm not going to go into it today, but it's all in there. All this is in there. So we know that Yosef basically built his brother Yehuda too. So together they can complete the Geula Shleima. And you will see that this battle started with these three guys. It's the same exact battle that the Yidden had with the Yevanim. The same. Now, there were three branches. So we have 3 times, so Gimel times Sarigim. Yeah, that's correct. I'm not putting any punctuation this time. Equals 1,659. 3 times, so he had 3 Sarigim in there. If you take 7 times Yosef in full, like this, Yud, Vav, Samech, Yosef, Te. So if you take 7 times this, equals exactly 1,659. So far, we see one thing very clear, that Yosef has the sign from the dream, because there's so much you can do to a poor young kid that's going to people, exceptional people that Am Yisrael never had again, ever. Yosef and Osnas. They both lived in the worst environment, and they both remained steadfast to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Had Osnas known that Yosef was chote with her master, with her mother, fake mother, Zuleika, she would have never married him. She was the granddaughter of Leah. She didn't want of Esau. She didn't want anyone that messed around. That was Osnas. And she told him, she knew. She even went to Potiphar. She told him, Yosef hasn't done nothing wrong. Potiphar went to Yosef in the bar. He says, no, you haven't done nothing wrong. But still remained there. What was being done there? It was being done because no one else was able to do it in the whole of Am Yisrael ever. Ever. I'm going to go show you where Yosef went. I'm going to go really deep this time. Very unusual for that shir, but have a little taste of Shabbos coming. Just a token for Hanukkah. Yaakov went to Haran, to Dafka, to a place called Haran, 258. 258 we have seen equals 3 times 86. 3 times Elohim, Elohim, Elohim. Can someone live with judgment the whole day? The world cannot exist if the midah of judgment was the midah in force in the world. We need chesed, we need rachmim. But Yaakov had to go there. And he had to be extra perfect, because otherwise, Elohim, Elohim, Elohim means that the dinim over there rule. And if the just would have done, that the others are not doing anything good for them, their family, doesn't matter. But if Yaakov had done anything wrong during his whole stay there, he would have failed. But he did not. He succeeded. We learned this in the Parasha of the Gilgul of the Shechita. We learned that, and that's what the Ari says, this Parasha, that the three Elohim, where are they? In the narrowest place of the body, in the throat. 259, it's Haran plus the Kotel, 3 times Elohim plus the Kotel. Meitzar, Mitzrayim, Meitzar. Meitzar, Yom, the narrowness of the ocean. Meitzar. So in the throat, what do people say when they're going through a hard time? I'm choking. What do you mean you're choking? Because the din is in the throat. What do you have to do in order to remove them or to appease them? The chaloim. Chaloim equals how much? 78. 3 times Yud Ke Vav Ke. Why? Because we learned. When you associate Yud Ke Vav Ke plus Elohim, automatically the Elohim goes down. So you think it's any different? No, it's exactly this. When we go through a hard time, or when we are in the tunnel, don't give up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks to us. My son, I'm testing you. You have a mission. That mission is bigger than you. We think that what we have to take care of, like the Yevanim says in America, my life, control this. No. We globalists. We work for Knesset Yisrael. We only one little nitzoitz of the Knesset Yisrael. And when we do something, and we have like ants, each one has a mission, and they make a whole colony. So when someone else struggle, it is our struggle. If someone turn a blind eye on someone that struggles, the struggles will follow. Some will follow him. The only way to prevent yourself from being in struggle is to go help the one who is struggling. There's it in Shemaim. You're getting this Yud Ke Vav Ke right away. Now, what it's called here, what's the gematria? Hashem Elohim. 26 plus 86. Oh, 112. I can hear Menachem without microphone saying Yabok. Yes, it's Yabok. The Sar of Esav, Elohim, Yaakov Avinu, Yud Ke Vav Ke, the 4th, and Yaakov Avinu 1. Says the Ari HaKodesh, the Mavar Yabok, the passage of Yabok is here in the throat. The Tachlis is not to leave them here, but to pass them, to digest them. You guys eat shemes? I don't understand what it means eating shemes. Hashem Elohim, you eating them? What does it mean? Here, there's a huge soil. Huge. You will understand something that take us way. Yaakov, the journey of Yosef started where? In Hebron. Vayavoy Shechema. He arrived to Shechem. Him and Shechem, it's an association. If I have time on Shabbos and I give a 10-hour share, we'll definitely cover it. Shechema equals 365. 365 equals, Shechema is Shechem, hey, right? Because the Shekhinah never leaves Yosef. Shechema equals 365. Yosef HaTzadik. He became his place by right, because he became Yosef HaTzadik. But when you take Paroi equals 355, equals Vayishkachehu, the Choshech. The Choshech is so strong that he can take the Vav Hey and bring Choshech even on top. Yosef had to come up with some ideas how to overcome the Paroi. But now we're still staying on the rail because we want to understand whatever we're going to reveal from Yosef applies to us 1,000,000,000% daily. So first one he met is the Sar Tabach. I told you the Midrash said what he wanted to do with Yosef, what kind of slaves he wanted to have. Sarah, maybe I'll write it so for you it's going to be a lot easier to digest. Thank God Shabbos we can write. Sar Hatabachim equals, I said 574, equals 7 times Naval. Disgusting. Now, what it means disgusting, you have to understand that Naval equals 82. 82, it's Din and Chet. That's all they do, these people. These Reshaim, all they bring on a person, they bring him the Din. Gotta watch who you're going out with. You gotta watch who you're frequenting. You gotta watch all these people, where you go, you're being invited. No, I have to go because you have to watch it because you're gonna come back. You're going good like Yosef, and you're coming back with a novel. You can't be, no, you're social. You have nothing to be. It's not true. Gotta watch this one. Now, if you put the koilo, so if we go like Sar Hatabachim plus 1 equals 575, Yetzer Hara. He was doing everything. This guy was a disgusting person. No, I'm going to stop here because I know too much about him already. He was called cherished Paroi. Just going to put you once the cherished Apparently. Okay. Now you know what Ceres Paro was. He was castrated. This is called 685. We're going to have it no matter what we take from him, we're going to come back at the same place. Nachash, which is the Yetzer Hara, Choshech, which is the Midah. Period. Nothing else. Now take his name. Poi Ti Fe Ra. All right, for those who write all the time, I'm going to be out of decency. Poi Ti Fe Ra. You see, I missed by one. Every time there's a U, sometimes I forget. Poi Ti Fe Ra. Amazing, the number 455. Unbelievable. Unbelievable number. 455 are the names of the Bina. We'll see in a little bit. Just remember, these are usually when we come to 455, we know we all go backward. But Potiphera was in the Bina. That's where he was holding over the Tumah. Ha-Pesha. Him, there was no Chet, there was no Avon. Everything was done in rebellion to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He knew everything. He was extremely highly intelligent, knew all the Kabbalah. It takes me in his back pocket. But that was what he was. And Yosef understood all this. He saw it's like the chess game. He knew how to play chess. He understood everything. The Gemara says, in Sanhedrin, on the pasuk in Malachi, Bagda Yehuda. We saw it last week, this pasuk, that Yehuda rebelled, or the verb for a traitor. Traitor, I don't know. So when it says Bagda Yehuda, the Gemara in Sanhedrin Pei Bes Amud Aleph says Avodah Zarah. When he says Vesoeva Ne'esa Be'Yisrael, and a dirty thing was done in Israel, that's gaze. Okay? Because that's called To'eva in the Torah. Kichilel Yehuda Kodesh Hashem, it's a Zoina. So that they went with the harlots. And so forth. All this is Potiphera. All this is what he was doing. All this is how this person deserved to be on the other side of, and a person who does this, here is his reward. That's why right away, when they did that in Yerushalayim, the Galus started. The same day, Galus. These are the acts of a Potiphera. Now we see who we have in front of us. Can't remember where the Kavanah of the Kaddish is. If I pass it or not. Oh, no, here it is. I thought I'm going to forget it. How did Yosef work? Yosef understood he has the three guys, three Elohim, like his father, like the Midrash says, like the Zohar says, everything that happened to Yaakov happened to Yosef. Yaakov went to face in Haran the three Elohim and had to transform them, put them down, and do Hashem Elohim. Do you know that every day we have the capacity to do this every day? When we say the word Yiskadel veYiskadesh Shemei Rabbah, the last letters equals 336. This is when a person can bring down, I'm struggling. I need to know where the Kavanah is in order to bring the relief, the remedy, everything. When we start saying Kaddish, the first one is the remedy. Iskadel veIskadesh Shemei Rabbah. Right there is 336. Not doing what others are doing is the remedy. Where were we, dear Potiphar? Okay, I don't want to write them on the same line, but no, I got to be right under them. We know that Kasa, Kamag, Kana equals 455, the three names of the Bina. Hashmoinaim. This is, now you can see in clarity what Yosef has done with what he fought. You want to come and fight me with this? I'm going to fight you with my side. The Midrash says that they were Iopator when he came with his army to fight the Hashmonaim. They were 1 million strong, with soldiers coming as far as India with elephant trained for war and tigers trained for war. Yehuda told them, I don't know where it's coming from, our Yeshua, but we have to be beteach, to trust Hashem, and he is going to come. And as soon as, how many people Yehuda had? Soldiers, 300. 300 versus 1 million. The biggest defeat the Yevanim got in their history, they never understood. Never understood what happened to them. The animals ran away. Everything went the wrong way for them. And this is how they were saved. The second one we fight is the one that died, Sar HaOifim. It's written like this, never with a vav in the Torah. 636. Don't want to waste time. I just want to give you a little bit on Hanukkah. Very quickly. This is when he saw that guy, he knew that he was not only working for himself, but he was working for the Geula of Mitzrayim, but also the last one. Said Mashiach ben Yosef. When the Ari said, Mavar Yaboik, that's how we do it. Because we know that Yaboik is this two shame equals 112. I'm rushing. 112 equals Yud Ke Vav Ke Elohim. And we need to do it 3 times. And then he says the Ma'avar is to pass the Meitzar, which is the Mitzrayim, here in the throat, and pass it through. Because Ma'avar equals it's not possible. 270, 272, 272 et 40. Totalement, 47. 270, 272, 7 et 4, 11, 312. You're completing not only you, but you bring back the Shem Hashem in every tribe on all the 12 Shabbat. Yosef knew at this point that something had to be done and fight for the rest of Am Yisrael. Here, this is how he translated it. Chachma, Bina, Malchus equals 636. I'm not putting a thing. I can't wait more time. And the last one we had is the Sarah Mashkim. And that's why he dealt with him so much. I'm not going to tell you without the Koilol, but with the Koilol, it goes 96 equals Mashiach ben Yosef or Mashiach ben David. It's not a coincidence that all of them are like this. It's impossible. Zechartani, he said, he should have stopped beforehand. Zechartani equals 687. Equals Ab. So the full name of the Chachma, Sag, Ma, Ben, Kasa, Kamag, Kana. He did the Yichud of the Shemesh in order to put the mission on him. Yosef equals Poiser with the Koil. Yosef thought, he saw the Shemesh here. He thought that he had to do something to bring them down. So he went talking to the Saramashkim. That's why the Midrash doesn't blame him. He didn't do it out of lack of trust in Hashem. He did it out of mistake. He didn't realize that Poiser, all you had to do is giving his dream, explanation. Poiser equals 686 plus the Koilot 687. Yosef didn't realize that. That's why his father called him Ben Peras Yosef. You got to stop when Peras is like Poiser, same letters. You got to stop right there. He went to Zachartani. He thought the Yichud was, I have to go tell him, and this is how I have to, I'm going to be redeemed from the Beis HaSurim. And what did he want to do with this? He wanted to do a yichud. He said, "Vehis kartani, skar tani," which equals 698. It's basically the same. It's the same word, only with vav hey at the beginning. You can see the vav hey come back here. This equals malchus in full. Mem lamed kaf Malchus. Vav. Saf. 698. That's what we have exactly here. So you see what Yosef never thought. He knew that when he saw the name, he saw the whole thing he had to do. That's what we do in Hanukkah. When we go light the ner in Hanukkah, because v'nachal yotze me'eden, and there's a river that comes out of the Gan Eden, which is the Bina, which is the Yesod of the Bina, and in that Yesod we have these three names. So, lehadlik, ner Chanukah. The first three letters are Rashi Tevos, Nachal. The Kavana is to be mamshich the oir from the Bina all the way down to the Ner. What do you mean? I have to be mamshich this, by the way, equals, if you think it's 1036 equals 5 times oir plus the kero. All the oir of, that's why we say in Chanukah the oir aganus, the oir ensof comes down, because when we say the bracha, we say the bracha on the oir aganus, on the oir ensof, because it says only in the Torah in the creation of the world only 5 times oir, no more. So now we go to the ner, and we're gonna light the ner. So we said the bracha, a ner equals 250, and we're gonna bring, which equals oir godoy, a brig oir. We're gonna come on here equals yud ke vav ke keye, yud ke vav ke. We do the 3 yichudim. Yud ke vav ke Eloit equals exactly 250. That's what we do in Hanukkah, and this is how we moishech the oir. This shemes here, kasa, which is the keye in full with yud, keye with alfin with aleph filled, and keye with hey. So and where do we put it from? The Chashmonaim. So now you have here, it's almost, you have here Chashmonaim because they didn't give in to the Yevanim. So automatically they elevated themselves in the Bina where the Chitzonim have no place. They cannot follow them there. They get burnt by the big, the Nesher Agadol, the big eagle. And therefore, we have to go up there and pull this oir from these names. When we say the bracha, we're thinking 5 times oir. The ner, we're going to bring the oir gadol to the ner. How do we lit the ner? How do we make it? This is the yichud. Chochma bina, tiferes malchus, tiferes, the low part of malchus under Elohim. And that's how, and this is the ner of the Mashiach. This is the work of Yosef. Without seeing the light for so long, he has been doing for 12 years in the hole, in the darkness. But he believed. That's why the Midrash says, Ashrei HaGever. If you want to know who David HaMelech says, the only one who had immutable, on whatever word you want to say, on your about his bitochen in Hashem is Yosef HaTzadik. There was only one. It's him. Because without seeing, he didn't flinch. He didn't doubt. He didn't have yield. He didn't let himself go. Nothing. he was Yosef HaTzadik all along. Should be zoiche to have a bit of his oir, and that he should wake up his child, the Mashiach ben Yosef, and tell him to bring the Geula Shlema in those days of Hanukkah. If we are Moshech the oir for half an hour, the oir Ein Sof is guaranteed to go shine in the nearest of Hanukkah. All we know the oir Ein Sof has, because now it's the Be'er Gadol. He has Bane Chaye Mezoine, everything a person made it in his life and more. So now you know what you have to do. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen.